Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Mike Echoes. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I muted my stream and the thing. All right, everybody, I apologize. Welcome to Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan Erskine, news editor here at Shacknews. This is episode 151. As you can tell,
Getting
it's a
up
little.
there.
We are getting up there. We've been doing this for a while. I remember when we celebrated our 100th episode with hot sauces. Um, I am joined this week not by Greg Burke, our illustrious head of video, but Denny Von Doom, Dennis White, our community manager here, the indomitable Denny. Welcome. Thank you for subbing in for a sick Greg. He's
Yeah. Feel better, Greg. Hoping
yeah,
we get through it. It's always
he's
rough
a
after traveling.
he travels some of the most of anybody on staff. I think Ozzy's probably still got that top spot, but Greg's right behind him. So yeah, he shakes a lot of hands and stands really close to a lot of people's faces. So we're wishing him a nice fast recovery there. I make it sound like he's like a terminal disease. He's fine. But he's not able to do the show this week. But no need to fear. We've got Denny here, and we're gonna jump into a little fun slate of stories we got this week, Denny, because there's been some interesting stuff happening. It's been a couple weeks since our last show, so we've got 2 weeks of news to catch up on, which is always a blessing and a curse because when that happens, it means there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but it also means that we can't talk about everything. So I kind of always have to like whittle it down to like
Yeah.
you know, the most significant things that we've got here. Which one thing that I felt we just absolutely couldn't do this without discussing is the Oscars are going to be adding a category for the best stunts. So this is something that's been like people have been banging the drum for this for years and
Yeah.
years and years. That there should be a best stunts category at the Oscars. I mean, those people put their lives on the line. They are quite literally jumping out of buildings. You look at all the crazy shit Tom Cruise does in those Mission Impossible movies, clinging on the planes and stuff. But there was never like a spot for it on the Hollywood's biggest stage, right? And finally, that's going to change. Now, obviously, the Oscars are still an old American institution, so any new change is going to take years to come into effect. So we won't see this until the what I think they said, yeah, the 2027 Oscars, which is the 100th Oscars. So it'll be just in time for a full century of that award show. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. It's a cool win for like stunt workers. Those people quite literally put their lives on the line to make these movies look cool and awesome. So it's pretty dope that they're finally getting some recognition there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely a huge moment for all of those people. Are behind the scenes and you
Yeah.
know out here basically making your favorite stars look good without
Yeah.
getting
Hmm.
that kind of recognition. So now they actually have, I'm really curious of how they're going to, also show some of that when it comes to the actual show.
Yeah.
If they incorporate more of that into uh,
Yeah.
both the presentation or behind the scenes, or how they mix in some of that when they present
Hmm.
the nominees and stuff like that. So there's some cool opportunities there to kind of see more of that on display in general. So yeah, hoping that this leads to there being more both respect and more of just acknowledgement for those people in stunt work that really do make things happen. Because there's so much
Yeah.
that happens on the fly on a film and production anyway. But like, imagine like having to, fix things and that kind of stuff and make things happen from like the stunt end when what was planned from production doesn't work properly to be able to pull off a stunt safely. You're trying to figure out how like this big part of a movie may not happen now, and
Yeah.
having to improvise basically, which happens all the time.
It's a good question you ask of how do they really spotlight that in the show because when they're talking about the best actor, right, they'll just show a 15-second clip of that actor acting in the movie
Yeah,
they're nominated for, right? But when you're a stunt performer, it's kind of part of your job to like not be seen, at least clearly. A lot of times you're just in the movie because you look like Ryan Gosling or Timothy Chalamet or whoever. If they just don't show your face directly on camera for like 4 seconds, nobody will notice that you're not them. So yeah, those like clips are going to be kind of weird to look at, where it's just fast moving motion and blur. But I'm sure they'll find a cool way to spotlight, or maybe they'll use like BTS footage, where a lot of that stuff
something
isn't
like
done.
that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. A big question to me was like, I mean, it's one of the things where yeah, I'm glad they're doing this, but man, wouldn't it be cool to like retroactively acknowledge former stunt workers. Now I know it's probably a huge undertaking to go through 100 years of nominees and winners, but I mean, gosh, by the time they do this, Mission Impossible will be over. The last one comes out this summer. Tommy Tommy needs his Oscar, man. That dude was holding on to a real plane, like a real one that was in the air, engine running.
Yeah, Mission Impossible was like one of the most like movie titles ever. The
Yeah,
Final Reckoning.
Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning is like movie the movie.
It's pretty, but yeah, Tommy's got a quality
Yeah.
amount of pull. Maybe he'll make something special happen.
Yeah, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him jumping between train cars and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think in movies like Everything Everywhere, I mean, they've got him here, like, in this article. They know where the good stunts are happening.
Yeah.
So, glad it's finally happening. This is also not the only new category they're adding to the Oscars. There's another one that they approved a year ago, I think, that's coming into effect next year, because that's how their timeline works, is Best Casting. So we're going to get Best Casting next year, and then in 2027 we'll get Best Acting, or Best Action. So I'm interested to see. But speaking of casting, there's a movie we're going to talk about that just came out later in the show that has some damn good casting in it that should probably be a shoo-in to at least get nominated for this award. But moving along from that, this is one that was sent in the Shacknews work Slack, and I looked at it and I was just like, that's a news headline. Toys R Us live action movie in the works. So yeah, that Toys R Us, the toy retail chain that was big 25 years ago and then promptly went bankrupt in the 2010s and kind of made a comeback. That was like a thing that they like reopened some stores, but I'll go ahead and read the story from Variety here. Story Kitchen and Toys R Us Studios. Whoa, I didn't even know Toys R Us Studios was a thing. That's news to me. Toys R Us Studios, the entertainment production arm of the global toy brand, have teamed up to develop a live-action film. Toys R Us is a cultural touchstone that continues impacting the child in all of us today, said Story Kitchen co-founders Dimitri M. Johnson and Mike Goldberg, announcing the project. And then here's a quote. As 80s kids who consider Toys R Us one of the most magical places on Earth, we're honored to partner to create a film that will capture the spirit of adventure, creativity, and nostalgia that Toys R Us represents. The film, which is in early development, aims to capture childhood wonder in a modern, fast-paced adventure that taps into the Toys R Us brand's relevance across its more than 70 years in the toy industry. So, a lot of like corporate buzzwords. They don't really tell us what this movie is. I saw a tweet, Denny, this week that was like, this movie is going to be either one of two things. One, it'll be like a Tetris-style biopic where they try to make like a drama out of like how the Toy Story business was formed and like saved, or like how it changed childhoods, and it'll be like about some executive or whatever. Or it'll be like Toy Story, and it'll be like an actual like fantasy, like set in a toy store, like toys come to life sort of thing. Which I think that sounds more interesting. Obviously, it'll always be compared to Toy Story. But how do you feel about them making a Toy Story movie? Over there in little Hollywood.
I feel like the second option is definitely the more interesting of the two.
Same.
I'm not really as interested in the Toys R Us founders, or how you got from that 80s vibe to now. But
they found a reason to put a car chase in the Tetris movie, so I mean.
But there is potential there. I mean, we are in a world where you see the Minecraft movie blowing up the way it is.
Yeah.
And so
very true.
to tap into like that kind of space, I feel like in ways that would make it interesting for both like potentially like the kids and stuff like that, and also still work with adults too. So
yeah,
there's space to work with there. At the same time, like I said, I didn't know Toys R Us Studios was a thing either. So
yeah, what did they must have just gotten spun up to do this.
Yeah, like what kind of creative minds are behind this, or as far as that end goes, when it comes to who's going to be in charge of making this happen.
You know what, Denny?
That would be more important.
I just realized that I would have more information if I just read more of the article. I've created a cardinal sin here. They have more details. The project has been described as being in the vein of Night at the Museum, Back to the Future, or Big, plus other toy-inspired narratives like Jumanji and Barbie. So it seems like it's more the second option, right? It seems like this is going to be like a fantasy, weird, maybe toys come to life, or adventure thing, which that sounds more interesting to me.
That definitely makes more. It makes sense, and it also makes sense for the brand because if you have a successful movie in that situation, you got more kids wanting to go to Toys R Us in general.
Yeah.
And say, I want to be like just in the movie, and I want to go in here and walk around in the aisles.
Children are gonna watch the movie and then be like, "What's Toys R Us?" That's how that's gonna go. That's how that conversation goes. Because I mean,
this is a big investment to get people to realize what Toys R Us is again. But hey,
yeah. That said, I think that the log line. If I was a studio exec and you were like, "This movie's gonna be Night at the Museum, but at a toy store," that sounds fun. If there's like an employee, like a janitor, custodian, whatever, that works night shifts at a Toys R Us, and then like one night, like the giraffe starts fucking talking to him or something, and the toys start walking around, that could be fun.
You gotta get the right person. You gotta cast the right actor. The Toys R Us employee.
That's a good point.
Who's running the show.
Yeah, I mean,
if you get that right, then you'll have something decent to tap into.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in the era of like FNAF and stuff.
Will Ferrell popping up.
No, don't do Will Ferrell.
Don't do the cringe, please.
No, that's he's been in so many things. No. But I mean, yeah, we're in the era of like Five Nights at Freddy's, which obviously this won't be horror, but that's a similar thing, where things are coming to life at night. I don't know if you remember, Denny, a couple years ago they did a Spirit Halloween movie that was like essentially that same vibe, right? Where a bunch of kids like sneak into a Spirit Halloween store at night, and then all this shit comes to life. But it's obviously scary stuff because it's Spirit Halloween. So I think if you can capture that vibe, that could be fun. Or maybe it's kids. Maybe a bunch of kids get stuck in a Toys R Us or whatever on like fucking Black Friday, and there are a bunch of
like the fun kind of stuff like you usually get with stuff like the Goonies or like
yeah.
That, like just having like kids' adventures being a thing.
Yeah. That said, there's always going to be the balance, because the cynical side of me is like, obviously this is going to be like a million toy commercials, because the toys that are walking around aren't going to be generic. They're going to be like name brand. Oh, G.I. Joe registered trademark, jumps down, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Raphael registered trademark run around. It's going to be a bunch of like branded characters. So it's probably going to be a close line to toe, right? I mean, even with Barbie, people love that movie, but that was the common criticism, was that at its core it is a toy commercial. So...
yeah.
See how they.
And I mean, Toys R Us is a brand, so
yeah,
they know what they're going into.
That's a
hit into the theater, and he even knows how long it'll last in theater. The way things are going now. After.
Oh, you think this one's bound for Hulu after 3 weeks?
Yeah,
or maybe less.
It's not blowing it up, then yeah, I can see that shift happening quick.
Oh gosh, yeah, could be. And I have more to say on that, but I'll save it for when we get to Sinners, because I think there's so much to dig into there. Then the next couple of stories I'm excited for, because I'll be honest, I just freaking love movie trailers. So, Predator Badlands is the newest movie in the Predator saga. It's being directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who directed Prey, the previous Predator movie.
I haven't actually seen this trailer yet.
Yeah. So, I am going to pull this up. I have it pulled up on stream here. Now,
let me try and get it.
I was gonna say if you could pull up on your end, just because it's gonna be a delay. So, but yeah, we're gonna go through and watch this thing. We know it's got Elle Fanning in it. I don't think it's gonna be connected to Prey. I think it takes place in a different time period. But new Predator movie coming this year.
I hope it's not connected to Prey. That'd be
awkward. That would be a bit awkward.
like those different times.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna. I believe I'm getting this up now. Okay, we're gonna react to it. Then you probably have to move the camera so that
you're right.
Block the captions and stuff like that for anyone that might be.
That's a pro strat.
Or something.
Oh dear. No, that's wise. Okay. I'm gonna get us out of the way. I'm gonna make us tiny in the corner here. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready. I got it set at 1.
Okay. Gonna count us down in 3, 2, 1, play. Right. Skulls, trophies, dinosaur skull.
I didn't think you survived.
See a T-Rex in that.
Oh boy. That big skull looked interesting. Okay. This fall, sure.
This looks like not Earth. Just gonna go out on a limb there.
Oh, we got all the weapons and androids. Are we doing alien crossovers again?
Yeah, that looked like Wayland Yutani android there.
That's definitely a different type of predator.
Oh my god. He's got the white hair.
Oh, we got predator tribes? Okay, that might be hype.
That looked like something from Doom the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
These energy sabers. Oh, that is a crazy looking alien. Oh my god.
That didn't look bad. Oh, not the tentacles.
Yeah, that's creepy. Does not look bad at all. Here I'm gonna mute it as we go through here. Okay, so
Yeah.
a couple things off the bat here. We talk about this shot
That
of
looks like
the trophies.
is that looks like the Independence Day skull.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Are we getting some we're getting some references.
We're seeing like multiple crossovers here. Obviously, Jurassic Park doesn't own dinosaurs, so I'm sure that's just a regular T-Rex. Okay, that makes sense. That like flat like skull that does look like Independence Day aliens, which at this point, why not? Just go have Will Smith show up in the sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
What else is in
That would be
there?
ridiculous.
There's like a Neanderthal skull, one with like a long spine, or I guess that could just be a humanoid spine. Yeah, there's some weird looking stuff in there.
I'm sure people are breaking all that down.
Oh yeah, you know it. And that kind of shot you put in a trailer for that reason too, for people to dig into. It almost seems like the
let's
Predator
see,
is going to be like a
Let me read the description here. It says,
Okay.
Perla Badlands, which stars Elle Fanning, is set in the future on a remote planet where a young predator, outcast from his clan, finds an unlikely ally in Tia Fanning.
Ooh.
And embarks on a treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who obviously directed Prey as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a whole Predator storyline happening here.
The idea of a Predator being a protagonist or ally to the main character, I think is a lot of fun. This right here might be maybe not the money shot of the trailer, but the like mystery box shot of the trailer, right? I mean, you called it out when you were watching, but look at that. She's her eyes there. She's an android, like from Alien, and it like the the Alien franchise. It's the Wayland Yutani logo and her eyeballs. I'm trying to zoom in on it here.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I didn't see it was the logo.
Yeah, it's like it's straight up Wayland Yutani. Like they're not even they're right out there up front about it. Which obviously these franchises have a long history together. Of course we had 2 Alien vs Predator movies. I think there's a Predator movie where they've got like an alien skull in the trophy room. Like it's been established many times that these franchises are either in the same universe or they kind of interact and touch each other. Now interesting.
Before they were trying to get away from that, and now it's
they were
getting back into it. So
yeah. The funny thing is that I mean we just got a new Alien movie last year, which I know was people it got mixed reviews. Some people were into it, some people weren't, but it made a lot of money. It did well, and Prey did well. It didn't make a lot of money because it went to Hulu. But I think that if we're in a place where Predator and Alien are both doing well as franchises, I think that Alien vs Predator reboot is inevitable. They're gonna do another one.
Yeah, that's definitely like it's kind of like when you get that Deadpool or Wolverine type of deal where like both have enough success in different ways that you bring them together.
Yep.
And that in itself can work out. I mean, we're somewhat back on better footing. Prey was definitely a quality film.
Prey was so good.
And gave people a lot more confidence in like getting back into that universe and world again. In a way that made sense. So I feel like we're heading in the right direction. I like the idea of there being both a remote planet, as it says here, and then there being like it looked like there were different tribes of Predator there.
Okay, yeah, here let me
did not look the
keep
same.
playing. Yeah, so I was just so hooked on that. Man, I love this overhead shot of all the. I don't even know who these people are. Whatever this plant is, it's got like needles or fangs growing out of it. It's disgusting. Did not like seeing those. Those are gross. This, I mean,
they're saying they can barely hear me. They're saying I'm too low on the.
Oh, okay. Hold on a minute.
Stream.
Let me turn your user volume up. There we go. Home through Discord. Okay, it should be a lot louder now.
Yeah, you guys let me know if I
Oh yeah.
sound alright.
Oh yeah, there you go. I see the volume levels jumping. There we go. My bad there. Um, yeah. This thing right here. I don't know what the hell this is. This looks like a Middle Ages like fantasy predator. It's got like a red energy sword. He's got like the weird shoulder pad armor. He's got a cape. He's got like
He
white
looks
dreadlocks.
badass. Like
Yeah.
he's got that definitely looks like we're we're out here in these streets like the Empire.
Yeah. Yeah. That looks awesome. Okay, cool. They said much better. Yeah, that is sick to look at. We get a little bit more of it here. We see it fighting, which the one I assume you read in the synopsis is the outcast from the tribe. In IMAX, yeah, it's gonna look good in IMAX. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we
you
get
just saw like someone with their predator with his arm cut off.
Uh-huh.
Just green blood flowing. So
yeah,
I feel like there's some kind of like there might be some kind of like war happening here or something.
hmm I mean, this shot where Elle Fanning's like they're hunting something that can't be killed, and we see this thing jumping through the fog. I don't know what the hell that's all about.
It's cool.
Terrified said this. That shot is sick. Yeah, some massive beast. That is an ugly.
Yeah, you remember in
picture.
Prey when they were like dropping like they had like animals they were sending out to separate the different humans and get them running around. So
Mm-hmm.
plenty of creatures they could bring into the mix.
Yeah.
To introduce.
I am excited for this, even as somebody who's not like the biggest Predator franchise fan. I think that the last movie was so good. What I think is really interesting about this is that it just looks so different from Prey. Like we knew it would be a different story, different time period, but I think Prey was so beloved because it was like scaled down, right? It was just like one woman. It was just in the woods, one predator, just bow and arrow, hatchet, small scale story. But this is like we're on a foreign planet. These people have like plasma rifles. I'm seeing energy swords. We got tentacle monsters. These guys are like fighting in massive chasms. There's like a rocket ship. She's an android from a different movie franchise. Like there's a lot of crazy shit going on in this trailer alone. So
and I like that. I like that it seems like someone hit the button and was like, we can go in a different direction with some of this stuff because just tuning into the, people obviously had the beloved side of Predator and getting into their premium, B movie action, type of deal. But then there's also like the elements that people didn't like in the long run that you're trying to recreate. But I feel like there's enough room to work with. Greg from the chat.
Yeah, Greg.
The sub hype.
Greg, too sick to stream, not too sick to watch. He says, maybe it's the Predator.
Some love for that one.
It's the Predator's coming of age ritual. Could be. Yes, 51-month sub. You can tell I'm becoming a pro because I didn't react when I got that loud ass notification sound in my ear like I usually do when I stream. But that almost blew my eardrums out when he subbed. Thank you, Greg. 51 months is a long time, buddy. Yeah, it could be a Predator coming of age thing. Although the subs does say he's an outcast, so I don't know. Maybe there's some plot trickery going on. Greg also says he's hacking up a log. So.
Oh well, feel better to Greg. Hoping you feel better, my friend. But yes, I think like there is, and keep in mind there are like Predator comics and stuff like that. There are storylines out there, outside the films that they might be pulling from too. So there's a rich history in that end that they could also be using for some of the script and that kind of stuff. So there's range to work with outside of just the films and Arnold and the boys.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. This comes out, what did it say, November, I believe? In theaters, so November 7th. Boom,
that
I'm there.
Fall.
Yeah, I'm there. And they learned their lesson from Prey. This is going to be in theaters. Prey was released on Hulu, and everyone loved it. People were like, man, Disney could have made a lot of money if they just put this in theaters. So...
Hey, look. I know you're going to bring it up later on when we talk about Sinners and such, but hey, I'm still a fan of theaters, people. Despite,
Yeah.
What? Yes, despite what some people might be saying about them not being a thing. I know we'll be on the rundown today, but I'll find out that quote from Mr. Head of Netflix. and
Oh,
such.
right. We didn't. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't put that on that. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, we said that Netflix is saving Hollywood, where it's like pat yourself on the back even harder, dude.
No one's trying to go to theaters anymore. All right,
Yeah.
buddy.
Thanks, dude. Um, Denny, we're gonna pull double trailer duty because another movie,
Oh boy.
another movie got a trailer this week, and this is gonna be a two-parter because something Greg and I have talked about a lot on the show is that what's old is new. You know, we've gone through our eras of '80s nostalgia, Back to the Future and Star Wars, all that stuff. We're firmly in the era of '90s nostalgia. No one's a bigger Scream fan than me. I've talked about that franchise to death. That's peak '90s cinema. But of
Yes.
course, something that's special about Scream is that when Scream came out, it inspired a lot of other slashers to come back into the fold, including a little movie called I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was written actually by Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream, which is why it's probably one of the better of the Scream ripoffs. And again,
Yeah.
what's old is new. Scream came back in 2022, so you can bet your ass there's a new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie coming out, and it's coming out, well, I believe this summer. And we got our first trailer for it, Denny. So I think we're gonna go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Sarah Michelle Gellar days.
Oh
Just
yeah.
hoping that they win it again.
Yep. Yep. So we're gonna watch this, and we're gonna talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025. Which I was wondering what they do with the title on this one because obviously the OG was I Know What You Did Last Summer. The sequel was I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which is the sequel that had Brandy and Jack Black.
Yes, it did.
Yep.
I remember that one
So
thoroughly.
yeah, if you guys remember that movie where Jack Black had weird hair on an island, that was a strange movie. And then there's the third direct to DVD that nobody knows about or talks about because it's almost unwatchably bad third movie in the series. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, which I believe they've stricken from canon. I believe they said that only the first two movies are canon in this because that movie is so off the rails bad and it does some weird shit that they're not even touching it. But then if you're ready, we can jump into this one.
Oof, man, that must have been for that to be that bad
Yeah.
in the early 2000s. That means you were real bad.
Yeah, they're just like, let's pretend like that never happened. All right, are you ready to hit play on this trailer?
Yeah, I'm loaded up.
All right, let's do it in 3, 2, 1, go.
Baby, you okay?
So
Why don't you go upstairs?
we got Madeline Klein here, who
Mm.
I loved in. She was in Glass Onion, Knives Out 2.
Oh yeah.
Find a peaceful setting and close
Okay.
your eyes.
We got like the
Imagine a
calm
woman
guided
bathroom.
meditation. Yeah,
calling you,
Yeah, that's how Greg is, relaxing right now.
that's Greg watching Pop Goes the Culture.
entering your body and emanating out
Oh,
from your
right. Ooh,
I mean, he could have got a better shot there, but it's fine.
chest. Breath in.
yeah.
And remember, the energy you give to the universe always comes back to you.
The energy you give the universe always comes back to you. There's that hook, baby.
I really appreciate the hook action.
Yeah, that's iconic. Southport.
This is some kind of karma for what we did.
Uh-oh. What did they do, I wonder?
You need to handle this.
She didn't have much of a face there, but all right.
Hey, look who it
Pretty
is.
Prince. All right.
We got Sarah Michelle Gellar picture. We see her grave. You're next. That's classic.
I need to start drinking. Someone is coming after us.
Oh.
I need your help.
Oh, Jennifer Love Hewitt, baby. Julie James.
The big reveal.
What did you do last summer?
Oh, the cringe is there.
Oh, that's so corny. That's so corny.
This place is so beautiful, it makes me want to die.
Wow. Okay. July 18th. 3 days before my birthday.
You've got time to prepare, folks.
Okay.
Because clearly.
Yes, T just said I just got here. Last summer movie question mark? Yes. So yeah, that line at the end didn't give it away for you. I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Why would you make her say that dumbass line in this trailer?
Man,
What
that
did you do?
oof.
She was
I
like,
know what I did last summer was not watch this movie. But hey, look, it's Just-
Oh man, that
you know what you're in for, folks. All right,
yeah,
they made it clear in this trailer.
yeah, they did. So okay, a few things that I want to talk about here. One, and let me mute so I can click through here. The opening with like Madeline Klein and her husband slash boyfriend, whoever, getting killed. Solid, cool. I like the guided meditation. It kind of plays into the cheekiness of it all. Um, I know what you did last summer wasn't as horror comedy as Scream. It was kind of more just horror. So
Yeah,
I like if they're gonna lean into the comedy aspects a little more. That was kind of silly, where she's listening to the guided meditation and her husband's getting hacked to death. Um, Obviously back in Southport. So this shot here in the car, we get to see like the main cast of the movie, our survivors. So obviously Madeline
yeah.
Klein. In the back there we got Chase Sway Wonders, who she's kind of racking up a good little horror library here. She was in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. She's also in the studio, which is good. She's in a bunch of stuff. The dude in the front, in the passenger seat, I forget his name, but he's in that horror movie Him, the new uh,
Yeah,
sport,
I did see that.
football horror movie. He's in that.
I was calling him the jawline, but
The jawline, yeah. I mean, the dude has a strong goddamn jawline. Yes, obviously they're driving away here. I'm just gonna say what happens, and I know what you did last summer because this is a sequel to it. Obviously in that original, it's like they're out night on the town, and then they hit a dude, and they realize he's dead, and they just decide, to make a pact that they're not gonna say anything, and they're just gonna not take responsibility for accidentally killing a dude. And of course, a year goes by, and they all get those letters. I know what you did last summer, and shit goes crazy. But now, Danny, coincidentally, it's happening again in the same freaking town. And there we go. It's written on the letter. I know what you did last summer. Uh,
yeah,
some
she didn't really react very well to that at all. But it was like she was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna like her face was like, oh,
that looks like me reading like a birthday card from my uncle.
yeah,
The-
like, well,
She's like, all right. Which, I guess if you don't know, maybe she forgot. Maybe she didn't know what's going on.
she's
Maybe
like,
she-
wait, what did I do?
Yeah, she's like, I don't remember
Okay.
what I had for breakfast last week. Um, Now there is the scene here at the community center where it looks like they're having a town hall about the killings, where we get Freddie Prinze Jr. baby, which his name is, I think it's Ray or Roy. I always forget in the I know what you did, but he's back. If you remember that movie, he survives, so he's here.
Yeah, that is true. He did
yeah.
survive.
And I gotta
It
meet
is
my
interesting that they're going full circle with like actually bringing back cast members and stuff like that, and then having it be a continuation
It's
instead of a reboot.
it's really the sin of like a lot of these modern reboots is that they want the best of both worlds. They want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. They want a fresh slate with new characters and a new story, but they also want the nostalgic characters from the original to show up and be in it again, and they want there to be callbacks. And you couldn't get Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt unless you kept it in the canon, Now, personally, I think Scream does it very well. I think they have their cake and eat it too in that movie. But yeah, I know You Did Last Summer is a bit sillier because it's such a specific plot for them to do twice. Yeah. And in this scene, I haven't muted, but Freddie Prinze Jr., his character is saying, this isn't the first time this happened in Southport. So clearly they're going to connect the killer to the original.
Greg, please. All right.
He said, oh my
I
God,
see
what
you
do
in
we do?
chat.
Call cops to report end credits. I mean, yeah, Greg, a lot of people would call the cops if they accidentally hit somebody, but if you're a privileged, rich Caucasian child in your early 20s and you've got an entire life and wealth and image to lose, maybe you don't, I mean, what they
do
did,
have an opportunity to
Yeah.
have some social commentary with this one. We're in a
they
different,
do.
different age here, so I mean, you could actually make something interesting out of that too.
That's a good
in
point.
itself.
That's a good
Look
point.
at that cast. I mean,
Yeah.
look at who we got in that car.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of, young, good-looking people, which I mean was the original cast as well. But I think that you're right. I think commentary-wise, you could do interesting things. I think with technology, you could do some interesting stuff. Again, to invoke Scream for the 5th time, the way that franchise kind of incorporated technology into its sequels and like social media and stuff. They didn't have that in the original. I Know We Did Last Summer in '97. So you could do something cool with that here. I don't know exactly how you factor it in, but obviously there'll be a connection. If you remember, what was the name of the dude they hit? They reveal it when he shows up at the end. His name was like Will, or no, Ben. Ben something. So maybe Ben's still alive after they killed him 2 times. But
Like go full Michael Myers, yes.
yeah. So Here they have again more
Great
odes
shot.
to the original. We see Helen Shivers, which was Sarah Michelle Gellar's character. Elsa Shivers, was like her sister or mom or something? Maybe her mom's deceased at this point. I think she's the only family member that dies in the original, so maybe she's like buried
Yeah, I
next
don't
to.
remember there being like a family tie.
Yeah, maybe her like mother has passed away since then, and they're like buried next to each other. But yeah, obviously we couldn't get Sarah Michelle Gellar back because she's dead, but we can put a picture of her in there. Fun fact: her and Freddie Prinze Jr. are married in real life. I think when they were shooting this movie, Sarah Michelle Gellar said she got in trouble because she posted on her Instagram. She visited the set and she posted like one of the like a picture from the set. You know, they put the logo on like the chairs and stuff. She was like, "OMG, like it's shooting, guys!" And then like the studio was like, "Sarah, we didn't announce that the movie was like shooting yet." So she like she deleted it. It was like, "Sorry guys, I got in trouble for posting that." So cool that we're still getting a reference to her. This shot here in the locker room shower where it's like you're next.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's like a sauna or something else going on. It
Yeah.
seems like they're leaning into like the privilege action of some
Yeah.
of this here too. Like,
That's again, that's a really good point, Denny. Like, yeah, this does like some sort of nice sauna, and of course, this is like shot for shot from the original. They do "You're Next" in like the fog on a glass window in the original. I forget the context of the scene, but that's ripped right out. But you're right about the privilege because even look at this scene where they're like outdoors on some patio. They got nice fucking
yeah, that's
seating.
some premium crate and barrel
Yeah.
action going on
Mhm.
here. You know.
Yeah, she's got her her wedding ring on, and even in this scene, I remember she was saying she's like, "Oh, I need to like drink, or I need a drink," which is such a like rich privileged person thing. Like, these serial killings going on. Like, somebody get me like a vodka.
I'm gonna get another appointment with my therapist after this one. All right,
Yeah.
guys, let's go get some maca tea and get on out here.
Need my Hailey Bieber smoothie. Calm me down. Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody's getting arrested
I'm
here.
hoping for some good kills. You know, the killer seems confident.
Yeah.
He's working on that arrow aim, but it's fine. You know, there's some of these Hawkeyes out here, rivals.
And they're teasing a lot of kills here. We see a body drop from the sky. That's crazy. You see someone getting dragged against the ground here, and then obviously Chasey Wonders is the one who goes and finds Miss Jennifer Love Hewitt. She says, "I know." What's the line? Let me unmute just for a second. I want to hear what the line is again. I need to know exactly what's going on
It's gonna
here.
be a meme for I can feel it.
Yeah,
Someone is coming after us.
someone is
gonna
coming
use it
after
also.
us.
I need your help.
It says, "I need your help." Okay, so this shot we see where they're looking off the cliffside where they. I mean, goddamn, how hard did they hit this person that they broke through the damn guardrail and all the way through it? I mean, how did they survive this? Now that I'm looking at the geography of it, Jesus Christ. All
There's
right.
the one question.
Yeah, I just have one question for you. What did you do last summer? Which, look, Jennifer Love Hewitt is great. She's a great scream queen. She's great in both. She's in 1 and 2. I know you did last summer movies, and now she'll be in 4 technically, but really 3 because they don't want you to know the third one exists. I'm sure she'll be good in this one. This is such a cheesy, corny like slasher movie. This is the kind of like dialogue that makes people shit on slasher movies.
It's the turnaround for me first. Like, and that makes it even worse because
Yeah.
when they're surrounded by people,
Mhm.
it's just like, all right, stage pose.
I'm
Take
having
away.
a nightmare on Elm Street. Tomorrow's gonna be Friday the 13th. It's like, oh goodness gracious. Yeah, look, I'm not a professional screenwriter, but I feel like there are better ways you could have done that. She could have been like, you know what? I think I know what you guys did last summer. Like, I don't know. There are so many ways you could like remix that like line or put it in there. But yes, obviously they're gonna call her in for help here. Now, what advice can her or Freddie Prinze Jr. give them other than run for your lives? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused on that too. Like,
Because
I'm not sure
it's
what her
like-
career role is now at this point. But I mean, is she
Yeah.
a lawyer? Like, is she a student? I mean, a teacher?
That's a good question. Because we are on like a campus, it looks like. So why is she even there to begin with? Maybe she is
maybe
like a
she's
business
like
professor.
part of the campus, counseling or something. Maybe she's
Yeah.
helping with the therapy side of things. Like, hey,
Mhm.
you
Maybe
know,
she's a public
let me talk to
defender.
you. Yeah, exactly.
What's
Here
up,
you are trying to think of more, ways to save this character before it even comes out.
Ways to make
It's
it make
fine.
sense. What's up, Squires? Yeah, because no, genuinely, I'm just like, I just don't get it, you know? Where there's no through line that would make sense as to why she would have any sort of input into this, other than please get away from me, when these people approach her. But we'll see. Again, I'm happy for her that she got to reprise this role. I think she was still a classic scream queen of the '90s for this movie.
Well, I have a question for you. Like, how do you feel about the this kind of like '90s slasher revival as a whole so far? Since we've
In general,
got more of them popping up here. Do you think that we should head down this line more? Or...
you know, I have to be honest. In general, I kind of love it. I love slasher movies. Slasher is my favorite subgenre of horror. I love a good slasher. Obviously, it all goes back to Scream as my OG, but I love the original. Okay, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original. I don't know if I love it. I've always said that it's one of the best titles, like in horror movies. Obviously, it was a book first, that became a movie. But I think it's a great story premise title and like hook, pun intended. So I've always appreciated this IP. I dig it. I like slashers. I thought it was kind of whack that they kind of died for a while and went out of favor. They're fun. They're great popcorn crowd pleaser, jump in your seat kind of horror movies. Laughs and scares, all the good stuff. So I'm with it. Bring all the shit back. I'm not precious about reboots. So we're gonna get into that because I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then it was just one movie to come out of the like Scream rebirth of slasher movies. Another one that was much less celebrated. Urban Legend.
Yeah, Urban Legend was a thing.
Urban Legend was when people were like, okay, wait, maybe we should really stop doing these. Because Urban Legend was also late '90s Screen Gems horror movie, which again was a slasher, and the whole gimmick with Urban Legend was that it was a series of killings based on common urban legends, right? Like, go into a gas station late at night and like someone like sneaks into the backseat of your car, or like the one where you're like in the woods at night and something jumps on your car, whatever the fuck they're doing in the movies. But it had like Jared Leto, Rebecca Gayheart in
I
there.
just always remember like Robert Engel like saying
Robert English. He's like the professor.
Like just staring at a chalkboard and then like you're like, okay,
being
buddy.
creepy. Yeah, just plain Freddy Krueger without the makeup on, pretty much. But Tara Reid, Loretta Devine, Alicia Witt, very '90s cast for that original Urban Legend, which I just watched this movie for the first time like a year ago.
Okay. Well then, yeah, you're probably
yeah, not great, but it does some interesting things, I guess. I think the premise is fun. The idea of like taking urban legends and then making them like a serial killer's pattern or motivation. Now, my question would become immediately, the first thing that comes to mind is like, we live in the social media era, dude. Urban legends are not a thing anymore. Like, people don't tell like these campfire stories anymore of like, oh, if you honk your horn 3 times at 11:30, like the bloody witch will come get you. You know, like that's just that kind of stuff doesn't go around because we just have the internet and everything is instantly debunked and everything's fake and made up and AI generated. So I don't know what urban legends you pull from. Like, I haven't heard an urban legend in the last decade that I'm like, oh, they should include that one. Now, I think you could, like, take some liberties with the phrase urban legend and maybe you expand it to, like, creepy pastas, right? Like, that's a big internet thing, you know? You could...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think they're going to move more that route where there's more of, like, the creepy pasta type of deal and, like, a mixture of some of that kind of angle instead of it being more of, like, you know, this is true because, like, yeah, just, I think if they go more of that route with a mixture of, you know, some elements of that kind of thing and, like, a Black Mirror vibe, it could work.
Yeah.
But it's also still a slasher, so like exactly. How highbrow are you gonna go exactly with it, and how meta you want to go with it too? Like that's again, it's gonna come down to kind of like creative side, like both like director wise and when they come to that writer.
Well, like, I'm glad you mentioned the writer, Danny, because the movie's being written. Well, no, it's being written by Sean Wakefield, but Gary Dauberman is going to produce it. Let me name you some movies that Gary Dauberman has produced recently. Most notably, and most recent, Until Dawn, the movie, is about to come out. He produced that.
Okay.
He he also produced It, Annabelle, The Nun. He co-wrote the Until Dawn movie. So it's a bit hit or miss here.
Yeah, that's definitely a mixed bag.
I
Yeah.
you know I like it. I think that it movie's still very good. I know that it's gotten some
Well, the
some
thing is that
some mixed
it is
reactions,
like
but
it was already a film, and you had someone directing it that also had a big impact on making that movie good. Whereas, like, you got stuff coming out now, like that Until Dawn movie and everything else attached to it. But you telling me he wrote part of?
yeah.
It makes it a little bit scarier. So now it's like, oh, you're taking something like Urban Legend here,
Hmm.
and you're attached to it to bring this back into being a successful franchise that it wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
Um, that's a bit rough.
I think Urban Legend
But
also got like horrid direct to home video sequels as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, this
yeah,
we knew it was coming, and honestly, I wish I had better memory of this show because I've brought this up to Greg. I think when they announced they were doing I Know What You Did Last Summer, which that was like a year or two ago, they said they're going to bring that back as well. It's
Mhm.
right after Scream took off with its reboot. I told Greg, I was like, well, Urban Legend's like in that line, right? It's like ascending order. It's like Scream is like the best of the 90s slashers, and then you get I Know What You Did, and then you get Urban Legend, and then it just becomes like the Faculty, and you get which Faculty's coming back too. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but that's also getting a reboot. So they're
The faculty actually hits a sweet spot for me, so I'm
there. You
fine with
go,
that one
there you
being
go.
potentially on the
Yeah.
list. Like,
So they're going through the full gamut of slashers. So I definitely mentioned at some point, probably 20 episodes ago, that Urban Legend was inevitable. Um, okay.
I never enjoyed the whole like, let me wear this big winter coat with an axe. Like, this is Chicago here. I'm sorry, but there's plenty of hoodies.
It is like a big furry. Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm like, oh guys, you can't see my face. I got a hood on. You know,
Yeah.
got a weapon to use on you.
That's another great thing that I love about the slasher genre is all the like costumes and the looks, right? Because every slasher has to have an iconic looking villain, and some succeed,
Yeah.
some don't, right? Like obviously, your gold standard is going to be Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface. You'll never touch those three as far as iconic slasher villains. Oh, you know Michael Myers as well. That quartet. But like we've had some good ones, you know. Um, the hooked fisherman from I Know What You Did. That's a classic, you know, with the boots, the big rain slicker, and
that's
the
a
hook
strong
hand.
one.
That's a good one. Urban Legend, big coat, you know, less
Me
so.
watching in '98, you know, as a youngster, you know, I'm like, so why? Like, I'm just sitting there, like, you know, watching the movie. I'm like, so is it cold outside? I don't understand.
Is it
what's
cold
happening.
outside? Are you burning up in that jacket?
I guess, yeah, as a Chicagoan, I'm sitting there like, hey, is it one? This is I don't see any snow outside. What you got this coat on?
Yeah.
It,
Some do it better than others. So you know maybe we'll get a remix of that, and you know I would say maybe they'll bring back OG cast members, but for the life of me, I can't tell you who survives Urban Legend, if anyone. So
I mean,
we'll see.
I just remember, you know, Shorty with the eyes, who's, you know, wasn't she in? Can't think of her name right now.
Rebecca Gayhart's in there. Alicia Witt was in there. She was just in the Long Legs. Jared
Okay.
Jared Leto still terrorizing us yearly. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about him being in that too. But it's like she always had like really distinctive look,
Hmm.
and then like the ending of the movie and everything involved too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is one of those where it's probably gonna be a premium Tubi exclusive
To be.
after after a
Oh
year or so.
god.
But
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us.
Hey, I got my fingers crossed. I hope it's good. TJ in chat says a good-looking slasher villain can overcome how bad the series is. Case in point, Terrifier. You know what, TJ? I think you've got a point there. Art the Clown is like a modern iconic slasher villain, and I've been to horror conventions, Monster Mania Con out here on the East Coast, dude. There are so many Art the Clown cosplays. I see children dressed as Art the Clown, and it's like Art the
I'm still confused by like how
which
that works.
yeah,
But
I mean concerns me deeply. But Art the Clown cosplays at horror conventions is like as popular as like the Jason mask or the Ghostface mask. It's crazy. People love that like black and white makeup clown look. And TJ's right. That the look of that clown is way cooler than anything that's happening in those fucked up ass movies. So yeah.
you have to. The iconic part is definitely a big factor when you have that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like you can tell that Megan T was trying to lean into that too right now. With trying to get into more of like how to make that a thing in some way. without it just being a doll. So
Yeah.
I can see it going further with some of these. But if we bring back that freaking hoodie or that hooded coat, I have no interest. Telling you now, Urban Legend,
Yeah.
folks. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you're the route you're going.
Let's
And
get
if it has
something.
like some sponsored brands on the like shoulder pad or something,
Patagonia,
like, like
the North
don't
Face.
care about any of that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward to see how it shakes out. And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of our news discussions here. Danny, we're going to do a couple of reviews. I know you got a lot of WrestleMania takes. I'm excited to hear them. I got some questions for you. Before you get to that, I have to talk. I have to talk about Sinners, man.
Hey, I'm totally okay with that. You know, yeah, I haven't seen the film yet myself, but I definitely been hearing good things.
It's rare that I'm at a loss for words because I like to yap, but this is a movie where I don't know where to begin. Sinners, the newest movie from Ryan Coogler, director of Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, Creed. Stars Michael B. Jordan, who's been in all of his movies. I love when a director and actor have like a,
Yeah, that
they
dynamic duo acting. Yeah,
right,
it's a
right.
beautiful combo.
That duo action. It's their latest film together, and essentially it is a old school southwestern with supernatural vampire elements to it.
Yeah, it's definitely Southern Gothic on this.
Yeah, Southern Gothic is the best way to describe it, and it's essentially these two brothers who are moving back to like their hometown in I believe it's Mississippi. But you know, Danny, you'll like this. They're coming from Chicago. They were like before the movie starts, they're like, oh, we're back from like Chicago, and they're moving back down to be. You know, maybe I should have picked a different trailer to play here. They're going to be.
I do remember like him mentioning that too because yeah, that's one of those things that's been a major thing too. Is that a lot of
Yeah.
history. I've talked to my grandparents about that recently. But we had a lot of folks that moved up from Mississippi to Chicago over the years. My
Yeah.
granddad, he actually got his birthday this week. My dad went
Happy
out with him
birthday.
to take a train trip.
Ooh.
You know, he's getting up there,
Mhm.
hitting that 90 mark. But
Hey.
they moved up from Mississippi to Chicago and
Mhm.
planted their roots here. So it's a big thing for a lot of families.
Yeah.
And, folks on that end. So interesting, yeah.
I don't know if I've seen. Okay, well, I have seen it. The last time, Denny, I saw a movie get this much buzz and excitement and like crowd reaction was Barbie 2 years ago. When Barbie came out, I went to the theater and people like in Baltimore were wearing like pink outfits and like cowboy
Yeah,
hats
yeah.
to go see Barbie. And it was just one of those, it's like these movies only come around every couple of years, right? Before Barbie, it was like Avengers Endgame 4 years before that, right? Where it was like the movie pierced through. This wasn't just like a movie lover's movie. This was like an everybody movie. Like your parents knew about these movies. And Sinners has really become the latest one where I've seen this twice now. I saw it with my family and I saw it with my
Nice, okay.
friends. Yeah. I saw it twice opening weekend. Saw it with my family that went with some friends. And it is just so good. And it's one of those movies where like it's not perfect, but everything it tries to do is just so either fun, clever, thought-provoking. The performances are great. Michael B. Jordan plays twin brothers, and I know Michael B. Jordan is one dude, but there are multiple points in this movie where I thought he was two people. Like I had to remind myself, I'm like, he does not have a twin. You know, it was like watching The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, where I'm like, wait, there's not two of her; it's just one girl. Michael B. Jordan is so good in this.
Yeah, this cast is great. I definitely know that.
Yeah. I mean, Miles Canton, it's his first movie role. He plays one of the supporting characters. I mean, he might give the best performance in the whole damn movie. He's phenomenal. He plays like a young musician, and he has some scenes in this movie that I'm like, this kid might win like 5 Oscars by the time he retires from acting. He's so good in this movie. He should get nominated for this. Haley Steinfeld's great. Delroy Lindo in this movie is so funny. He plays like this drunk musician, and he has moments where in one scene, like with no camera cuts, he will have you on the verge of tears, like just sad as he kind of recalls like hardship and shit that he's witnessed and things that have happened to people he knows and loves, and then just laughing when he talks about like drinking or his own habits or the way he interacts with other people. It's like it's
I see
generic.
a girl from Lovecraft Country in there. Yes.
Oh yes, she's great. I need to look her name up so I can give her her proper due. Cause she's great in this as well. She's also in I think she did some Marvel stuff as well. Yeah, Wunmi Mosaku. She's great in this. Um, she's kind of more like one of like the
Even
wiser
in the
characters.
trailer, like I
Yeah.
see so much like there's a lot of texture, and then
Yeah.
obviously Coogler knows how to shoot. And,
Oh boy,
you
does
know,
he! My God.
Like it just looks good.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. The way they handle the supernatural elements with the vampires and stuff, I love. It's so funny. It's got like the whole movie really builds to a crescendo, right? Where like the beginning isn't boring, but it's like very carefully laying a lot of groundwork for what's gonna happen. The way they introduce and roll out all the supporting characters very carefully to kind of build up to this massive confrontation towards the end of the movie is excellent. It's violent. This movie is bloody. It's got some good scares.
Hey, I like to hear
It's
that.
it's got some great commentary, as I mentioned. I mean, this movie takes place in 1992, or sorry, 1932, Mississippi, two very different settings. But in the American Deep South, they talk about Jim Crow.
Mhm.
There's a lot of post-slavery commentary here. Um, they talk about like race relations. There are they talk about like the Ku Klux Klan and lynching and shit like that. There are themes of all that in this movie, and it's like on one hand giving you like a thought-provoking period piece, and on the other hand it's just a fun-ass summer blockbuster where the screen is big as hell and there's shit blowing up, and the way they use the music. I mean, we need to find whatever RA or housing manager put Ludwig Göransson and Ryan Coogler in the same dorm room at USC, because we have so much to thank for. Because Göransson has obviously gone on to not only have his own very prolific career, but he scores every Ryan Coogler movie, and
Yeah, that part.
it is phenomenal. I mean, it's so good. You listen to it, the way they like they do the thing which I love when movies do, where like the score is almost like synced to the actions of the movie, where things are happening on screen and it's to the beat of the music that's playing. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even know how you conceive of this. I don't know how you write, shoot, and score a scene like that. Where do you even start? And this movie does it from beginning to end. It's so beautiful.
I know it's
Um,
been strong because I've even seen like like this Sinners original soundtrack popping up in
Yes.
Discord on people's lists.
yeah, there
People
are.
playing it.
I mean, Miles Canton learned how to play the guitar, banjo. I forget the instrument he's got for this movie. And he sings in it. And he's great. But no, I had the soundtrack to this too. There are 2 or 3 songs in this movie that I like have in my rotation. They are good. It is beautiful. It's got a great ending. It does a cool little like epilogue at the end that I loved.
Okay.
It is it's phenomenal, and it's so rare that I show like my parents a movie and they want to see it again. I don't know if my parents have ever seen a movie in theaters twice. Maybe like Avatar or like The Princess and the Frog. Like it's been some shit way back. They don't do that, and they saw this and they're like, I kind of want to go see it again. Like we kind of want to go see it a second time.
Hey, that's
It is-
epic in itself, right
Yeah.
there.
It's
That's,
I mean
that's definitely
yeah.
a glowing recommendation because you
Mhm.
know they're gonna talk about that
Yeah.
with everybody else they know too.
Oh,
After.
my mom has
That's the
sent me.
case.
My mom has sent me TikToks about Sinners almost every day since we've seen it, and there's like theories, speculations, people being like, "We want to spin off, we want a show on HBO Max." It's completely really like taken over. Luchador says, "I'm like your parents. I never watched it second time." Yeah, I'm not a big rewatcher either. At least not in theaters. I'll rewatch it at home sometimes. But yeah, to get me in theaters twice, it's got to be a banger. And I saw this twice in theaters, so I was super into
Man,
it.
it's gotta be top of the top. But when it happens, like
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
because when you feel like you're having a theater experience and it feels that good and it's immersive,
Yes.
like I'll run it back. I'm like yeah,
Yeah.
like, okay. But I know this. I'm only gonna get this experience like that again for a
Mhm.
couple months.
I mean-
all right. Let me see if I can get some friends to come with me.
Such a fun crowd watch. And it's so cool that it's doing well, right? Because this
Yeah.
isn't the last good movie to come out. There are plenty of great movies that come out every year, but a lot of times they're indies and they like underperform and they go to like, Prime Video 3 weeks from now, and it's like if you know, you know. But it's cool to see a movie that's so good be so embraced and so beloved and make so much fucking money. I think this did like 60 mil opening weekend for a non-IP original movie.
In a horror
Um,
film.
And a horror
it's
film.
still,
Yeah,
you got a horror movie involved. You also got Coogler involved in a way that
yeah,
like people were talking about. Well, what can he do when it's not involving, you know, the IP or
exactly.
it's not touching Rocky and blah blah blah. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, look what he did here. Like,
yeah.
he trusted people around him and also trust himself enough. I know that there was some buzz and news about him also getting ownership for the film and stuff like that
Yeah,
after 25 years
yeah.
from WB.
He signed a
Um,
deal with them so that after 25 years, yeah, he gets full ownership of the movie, which is rare in Hollywood because obviously when you make a movie for their studio, they own it.
yeah,
Any
but
IP,
that's
especially
such a new
franchises.
pressure in itself.
Yeah,
But it's also a level of confidence where you're like, I can make this deal happen,
yeah.
and also like it's gonna make me some. I'm gonna make this even more iconic down the line when I can do what I want with it and distribute it
It's
how I want to do.
it speaks to not just the quality of the movie, but like Coogler's prowess as a filmmaker, right? Because Warner Brothers, one of their presidents actually came out and talked about this because obviously a lot of the old conservative Hollywood types don't like that like
Yeah,
filmmakers are going to start wanting rights to their own movies. Who would have thought? And they came out and said, essentially, Ryan had a great deal that he brought to us, and he was saying that the reality was that if we didn't give Ryan this deal, another studio was going to. Like people wanted to make this movie. If we didn't
yep.
make Sinners, it would have been Universal or Sony or Disney. Somebody else would have like been busting down the door to get this movie made. So I think that's awesome for him. I can't wait to see what he does like once he has full ownership of that IP. I saw he put out
Yeah,
a
using
long
that
letter
leverage
about it.
positively.
Yeah, he talked
Is,
about
is,
how his uncle, I think he said, inspired the movie. He said his uncle's like a big fan of the blues, and that he passed away. I think he said a couple years ago, but like his relationship with
okay.
him kind of inspired him to write this story. It's great. I could recommend it high enough. It's currently my favorite movie of the year, and it'll be hard to top. I really can't think of anything negative to say about it. I thought it was awesome.
That's a
Sinners.
glowing recommendation in itself.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to catching it. I wanted to catch it this past weekend, but stuff
Mhm.
came up. But
Yeah. Well,
definitely gonna make the theater action happen because Coogler. I mean, he's also been really vocal about seeing it in different formats and that kind of stuff, and
Yes.
pushing for IMAX and stuff like that.
yes.
Like this man is a film nerd, literally.
Yeah.
Like the way he was looking through those different different types of.
I know
films,
it's like we got 14
describing each one.
preparations on this one and the strips. Yeah, I mean, again, my mom asked me what 70mm film meant this week because she saw like the Ryan Coogler video.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I want to ask you, Denny, do you have like a good IMAX in Chicago? Because if you got to see this thing on the biggest screen possible, man.
Oh yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna hit up the IMAX for sure.
Mhm.
It's definitely happening. Like we've got a nice big
No.
old screen
Mhm.
with I'm gonna get my popcorn popping. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a whole
Yeah.
deal for me. Like these kind of movies are like that kind of experience I don't want taken away. When
Exactly.
we had that period of time where like we had lockdown and everything else happening, a couple years ago, like it's you've got the executive saying that no one's going to the movies anymore, and like
Mhm.
who wants to do that? Well, you could watch from home. It's like
Yeah.
well that's great, but yes, I still enjoy having seeing something like this in a theater and having that immersive experience there is still important to me because I remember all of that. Like some of my favorite films, like I watched in theaters, and like that's imprinted on my memory the way I saw it, for good reason because it's art. That's part of
Yes.
all of that comes together and creates a moment in time that I really enjoy, in a way that I want to view that is still important to me. Having the best sound or quality of, and obviously there's more involved when it comes to things like accessibility and that kind of stuff too. But I feel like there's not a situation where like we benefit from not having theaters be a thing when movies like this come out that show people that are at the top of their art form right now also paying that level of attention to detail to film as as that form of art too, and using it to their advantage with those different forms of format and stuff like that too, with an IMAX shot with IMAX cameras and everything else there, and using it that way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, to get on my soapbox again, and I feel good now because Greg's not here to push back on me. But, I mean, at the end of the day, this phenomenon, the Sinner's Fever, could never have happened on a streaming service. It just couldn't have. In 2020,
Yeah, that's true.
in 2020, Warner Brothers would have released this movie in theaters and on HBO freaking Max. simultaneously, and it would have made 1/16 at the box office, so it would have had way less money for it, and also less people would just be talking about it. Don't get me wrong, when this came out on streaming, I'm sure people would be like, yo, this is good ass goddamn Ryan Coogler movie on HBO Max, but it's just different. There's a reason that we've been watching entertainment on a stage for literal centuries in auditoriums and in crowds and mega theaters for literal centuries.
Yeah.
Because it's just
Because
the way
like
it's
a
the way this
communal
is meant to be.
experience, too.
Yeah, it is the way this stuff is meant to be seen, and I'm so glad that a movie is not just doing well, but doing amazingly well at the theater. Because if a movie like Sinners can't do well at the box office, then we might actually be doomed. So it is cool to see that people do still show up, and when there's a good ass, interesting movie out there, people will go buy a ticket stub and sit down and watch a movie. It's
Yeah, I love seeing that kind of stuff where there's both the communal angle of just having people sitting in the theater together and that being shared experience, but then there's also just like a movie like this being able to succeed in the way it does, and like the themes of black ownership and stuff like that, from that time period, where even having something you can call for yourself as a black man is something in itself, and then having the director of this film betting on himself enough to even make a deal and make that happen with the project is pretty dope.
Yeah. So with that, I'll close out my Sinners talk. Again, highly recommended. Everybody in the world should go see it. But Denny, I want to ask you about Wrestle Frickin' Mania. Which Mania was this again? 41.
Man. Oh, well, yeah, it's WrestleMania 41. The night 1 and night 2, because there's just too much wrestling for one night, one evening now. That ain't great. So want to see less of that happening and more of follow through on the folks that show up every day for your brand and for the shows.
That shit. I just saw. I came in. I was getting groceries before we record Shack together later, and
Oh, nice.
I came in. I threw on the stream, and I was like, "Oh, they're talking about John Cena." Did you talk about The Rock already?
Yeah, I just touched on The Rock. Yeah, so
Dude,
and some of the things he was saying today earlier, and then also just I don't know what that man is thinking. But
I saw this clip of Triple H from earlier in the year where it was after Elimination Chamber. Like the whole Cody Soul story, Rock pulled that out of his ass in real time, and I think derailed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely a vibe that as far as creative end goes, Triple H and The Rock are definitely butting heads on that in ways that are literally causing issues with keeping that cohesion actually making sense.
And I think it's a problem because Ari Emanuel, who I think is the CEO or one of the board members at TKO, he's Rock's former agent, and also Rock and him are really tight. So it's the board at TKO is acting a certain way, and I don't think they're gonna push Triple H out, but there's definitely conflict between the board and Triple H right now, and I think that this whole we Elimination Chamber tickets weren't selling well, so I had to be involved. It's I've seen a lot of people in the online wrestling community talking about how the price of PLE tickets have gone up materially since the TKO acquisition, and how it's not necessarily that the stories aren't good, it's that the prices are very high for the tickets. So
I mentioned that earlier too. That I have fans that actually went. Some of my friends went to the show and stuff like that, and then the pricing has been absurd. So it's no longer the same level of opportunity to even bring people in as a family.
There was a viral video of Randy Orton talking to some fans at WrestleMania, and when he heard how much they paid for their seats, he was like, "Seriously?" So yeah, even the wrestlers I don't think realize just how bad TKO is really milking shit right now. But the worst thing that could happen is if they chase off Shawn Michaels and Triple H in the name of profits. Because, those two dudes have done a lot for turning around the company. And I think when it comes to developmental stuff, what they did with NXT and what they did with the Performance Center during COVID, they helped a lot of wrestlers who otherwise may have gone by the wayside already.
Um,
Um,
also, quick question, very random. Is this George Kittle? I just paused it on stream.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, Kittle was there.
I saw this earlier and I was like, that guy was like George Kittle. And then played again. I was like, I think that is George Kittle.
George Kittle was at last year's WrestleMania, I think.
That's right. Okay, he did go out and do a
Or,
thing. Yeah.
or a few years ago.
Yeah.
Was
I think it was in Hollywood 2 years ago. He did. It was in L.A.
Yeah, it was the Miz versus. Yeah, it was Hollywood because it was Snoop.
Yeah.
Snoop and the ref. I can't remember who else was there, but like Snoop was hosting with the Miz, and then Miz had an open challenge, and McAfee accepted the open challenge. And during that match, George Kittle knocked out.
All right.
George Kittle knocked out Austin Theory, I believe. So yeah, Kittle is a fan of wrestling, and
Okay.
he's one of McAfee's boys.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about Pat McAfee being choked out on Raw?
No, I don't think we did. No. Do you
That's
jump into
my
that one?
favorite thing that's happened in wrestling, man. Gunther, who is the guy who went up against Jey Uso at WrestleMania, he tapped out. Jey Uso actually made this giant German man submit at WrestleMania. So there was a chant going on during the commercial break on Netflix, which is a weird thing to say, but it's still really weird, man, that I like pay the subscription price and then I still have to watch ads.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, like, I'll wait for Danny to get his headphones on. But yeah, like, Denny, I brought up Pat McAfee getting choked out by Gunther because like Gunther's now my favorite. He's now my favorite WWE superstar. Like, I love Gunther. I hope Gunther just chokes Pat every time. But man, I really hope this doesn't turn into a backlash match between like the Pat McAfee show versus Gunther. Like all of them.
God.
On one end, like, sure, Jay, I understand they're talking about, you know, who sells merchandise and who's got the kids eating, and yes, Yeet Man is out here and he's making things happen, sure, but come on now, guys, like that was rough to get through, especially when you got someone like Jacob Fatu on the same roster, and like him and Gunther would have had a banger, like that would have been an easy one on his end. But
it's really hard to believe that Gunther would tap out ever. Like,
especially in the way that that went, like with the tap out too.
Yeah,
like instantly.
Yeah, it was not an impressive match. So then like I get it. Cole and Pat, they're always eating on the desk and stuff, and like that's unprofessional. But like I'm worried that this is gonna turn into a match at Backlash or something.
Let's not speak that into existence. I can't take any more of that ends up being the thing. And then I also like how like they talked. They had all of that selling with Jimmy and the bleeding and everything else. And oh my God, I'm doing this for my brother. And then there's none of that kind of energy at all for the match. There was no physicality there for any of that. There was like I'm expecting there to be like, you know, a bloody Gunther by the end or something. None of that happening. Jimmy comes out looking fine at the end. The hug Jay, like nothing happened there either. Totally fine. Like it was real drive. And it also means that we have like Jay as champ, and that's gonna be heading whatever direction they decide to go with. Like, makes me not excited at all for any of that either.
Yeah, this is gonna be a whack year for WWE. Like, if this is. I heard someone say that like they think Cena's gonna try to win Money in the Bank so no one can cash in on him.
Yeah, that's been making the rounds to you, that, you know, since they've got the, you know, for Donovan who may have not heard that, you know, Cena did come on Raw and mention that he's going to ruin wrestling by
ruin
wrestling
wrestling
the belt moving forward.
Yeah, the whole idea
and take the belt home with him after this.
He's gonna retire the Unified World Championship belt. So that era of like Stone Cold and Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair,
goes with them.
He will be the final champion of that era.
Ooh.
And that they'll have to create a new belt. But he's not killing wrestling. He's just killing that belt.
I can see that happening, yeah.
And then like, I do want to say like one of the best things to happen at WrestleMania, Denny, was the rise of Dominic Mysterio as the Intercontinental Champion. Like a lot of shades of Eddie Guerrero there, who's like his godfather basically, or was his godfather. I think that's like, as shitty as WWE is, there are talented people like Dominic Mysterio in the roster who like he's a total heel Donovan. Like
Oh yeah, I've
he
seen
is
he's
beat.
yeah, he's an ass.
He gets booed like crazy, but you watched it flip right when he won, man. Everyone started cheering for him. He's
Hmm.
becoming an anti-hero. And
Yeah,
I
it
think like
works. Given that that heel Eddie Guerrero energy, and I want
yeah,
that. I want a new Latino Heat shirt. So
yes,
like, make it happen,
same.
Neely.
So like I feel like we're just witnessing this rise of Dominic Mysterio right now, and it's like you're right, Jay. That might be Jay's peak of his career is winning that match over Gunther. Like he's older. The whole tag, him and Jimmy are no
Mm.
longer tag champions or even in that scene. Like they've aged out, I think, in a lot of ways. You're right that Fatu versus Gunther would have been infinitely better, but like Jay won Royal Rumble, so they had to do something, and it wasn't like Jay was going to beat
Yeah.
Cody or Jay and Cody weren't going to fight.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's more so obnoxious just because Triple H had already mentioned how like it's not about the best performer, it's about the best wrestler. It's about who can make the product better from like both the entertainment side, who's selling actual merchandise, etc. And then
yeah,
of course like the internet backlash from that, on top of like putting the world championship on said person does not make that any better for a lot of people either. So, and then having that be the storyline where you have like a Gunther who's clearly gonna out wrestle you,
yeah.
and then having it go down that way, that's like the peak of making that entire thing look even worse, in my opinion.
He just said Dominic Mysterio became his favorite when he was on Logan Paul's podcast and he trolled him about not being able to go to Japan. Uh,
And I almost forgot that Logan Paul had a
That's
match
good.
on the card as well. By
dude,
the way, like that was
I almost forgot about Logan Paul. Period. End of story. Did you hear that he offered Stone Cold $1 million to dress
yes.
up in the Prime bottle, and Stone Cold gave him the double birds and was like, "No, thank you."
Good.
Yeah, you can't buy Stone Cold will come out and he'll announce the attendance and drink a bunch of beer and crash an ATV into a lady.
That was crazy.
But like
Yeah, lawsuits coming, but the prime bottle, that's too far. We don't have time for
that
that.
was the bridge too far for Steve, and I actually appreciate that Austin told him no. That
He
he
said,
can't buy
"Respect
it.
my boundaries. This is a
Yeah,
prime-free household."
but
Yeah,
yeah, like Logan Paul is exactly what's wrong with WWE these days. They're just focused on metrics and engagement, and it doesn't even if it's bad engagement. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, oh, it's engagement.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I will give Logan credit because he at least puts the effort in the ring to like
he's
do
technically a
things.
good. He's a good
Yeah, like
wrestler, and he's
yeah,
actually
no,
he comes from wrestling. Like he wrestled in high school and stuff. So it's not like
yeah, because like when I see like those kind of things happen in situations where people don't care, that's when it becomes unsafe. So like I give him
Travis
credit for at
Scott.
least being able to like get in the ring and make sure that the person he's working with is safe with what's happening
Yeah, like
in that
Travis Scott when
situation.
he busted Cody's eardrum and he gave him a black eye because he didn't know how to
Yeah,
fake punch somebody. Like he
yeah,
literally I don't know if you remember when he was like when it was at the end of Elimination Chamber when he came out with the Rock, he was like pulling Cody up and like hurting his back, and you saw Cena like push him down because he's like, dude, don't do that. Like, so yeah, throwing these are very trained professionals, right? It's the whole "don't try this at home" thing. Like, you throw a
yeah,
celebrity in the ring with like your world champion, and he busts his eardrum. It's sloppy. That's what I'm seeing. Is like it's just not the clean production that we even saw last year. Like last year's main event will go down as like maybe one of Triple H's best matches he's ever created. But
yeah.
like this year was such a drop for that. And I do think The Rock's to blame because the whole Soul story was dumb. And then like
And
it
it went nowhere.
but it was like the fucking catalyst for the biggest heel turn we've seen in like 20 years. So it's like to do that and then to just be like to tell McAfee, oh, it's time for the final boss to like kind of fade away. I'm like, that is the wackest storyline you've ever had, Rock. If that's how the final boss's story ends, you not even saying a word while John Cena beats the shit out of Cody Rhodes, like that's how you're gonna go out as the final boss? That's
Yeah.
whack. And he's
Yeah,
not a good storyteller. Like Rock's
it
like,
came
oh,
off really bad.
like Rock acting like he's a good storyteller. Like, come on, dude. You were in Rampage You're not a good
And
storyteller. You were in the
Skyscraper and San
Doom movie.
Andreas.
You were in
Doom.
the Doom movie. Like, and I know he's promoting this Scorsese film.
He's about to
that
be
actually,
yeah.
it sounds really cool, Donovan. Like
It does.
the plot, the setting, all of that, and like Rock does respect Hawaii and like native history over there. It's like maybe there's a
Moana.
chance. Maybe there's a chance that Rock won't suck in this Scorsese film and it'll be good. But like, that's his focus. It's clearly
Yeah, Hollywood
not
is still the focus, but he's like, I'm on, the board or whatever, and so I'm gonna get involved while I have some downtime to make, you know, we're not selling enough tickets for this one event, so I'll make some things happen.
Yeah.
Fuck the storyline or whatever. We'll just your soul was mine. We'll
So
Shang Tsung,
And it's
and
like
then
it's whacker.
just-
It's like whacker than the corporate ministry story. Like it's one of the wackest storylines they've ever tried, and then they just like they immediately retconned it. Like it was they like
there's a mixture of that, and then what happened with just like the Becky thing. Like,
oh god.
where there's just the cringe is happening, and I'm just like, all right, y'all, like this is what we decided to do.
You see the Bailey interview where she was like heartbroken about this. Like
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like those elements where like the people who are involved with WWE and are in there day in and day out, the ones that are doing these house shows, like I mentioned to Donovan earlier about how Rey Mysterio got injured.
yeah,
It's like he's the one that's doing these house shows and showing up for appearances and signing autographs and doing photos with the kids and everything, even on non-televised shows. And then
Yeah.
he gets hurt the day before WrestleMania, doing
which
his
is
stuff.
insane. Like how do you have guys that are in
Like-
like why are you wrestling the day before your like,
Because we have to maximize sales on said person getting those photo ops and that you're charging $90 for a piece. So
the way that they're using Latin American and Latino wrestlers in their promotion is just kind of gross. Like the way that they're doing it is it's not respectful to the culture at all. And yeah, like that's a big deal having Rey Mysterio there for like one of his, a WrestleMania match. Like
especially when he had a streak of WrestleManias going. This man's been going for like longer than plenty of the kids watching him have been alive.
exactly. So it's
Like,
and I just think that El Grande Americano is one of the most racist
yeah,
storylines we've had in years.
that was given full premium Vince energy there. I'm like, all right, guys.
And like they talk, like, you know where he's from, Donovan? He's from the Gulf of America, which like the WWE literally says that every time he comes out.
Oh god.
It's so embarrassing, man. Like that's the undercurrent of this weekend at WrestleMania too, Denny. It's like I know WWE's never been politically correct. Puppies and all the horrible shit they've done with objectifying women and being racist and all that shit. But like it was very out in the open at WrestleMania weekend, where it was just Paul Heyman letting it fly on Pat McAfee, the leak of the roast of WrestleMania coming out, and just that was a terrible idea. I think I was on this show. We were talking about it, where I was like, the roast of WrestleMania is a terrible, terrible idea, and it proved to be a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, and I also feel like some things don't have to be necessarily part of the sell for WrestleMania weekend anyway. Like,
and they did it after the main event on day 2. Like, people are already exhausted, and now you're gonna have them go to this after this like huge moment in wrestling. It was too much, and like that's like it goes back to TKO trying to wring out every single dollar they can from this acquisition. So it's
real messy.
It sucks because at the end of the day, like it's worse stories are being told because of TKO's involvement, and that sucks. But yeah, it's problem is all the fans are marks, Denny, and they keep paying for the merch and they keep paying for the tickets. Like they keep selling out arenas. You know what I mean?
I will admit that I would have been one of those people in line to use a chair to hit the fake Logan Paul.
Yeah.
That was.
Look, WWE World is a good idea. have a convention around WrestleMania that's fan focused. It's like PAX for wrestling.
That sounds cool.
Totally a good idea. But
I like that.
And you have panels and you have meet and greets, you have autographs, like all that's great. Like it's like Comic-Con or whatever for wrestling. I love that. It's this other stuff. Like
Yeah, you don't want your wrestlers falling asleep during the Hall of Fame
no, and also like
ceremony.
God, these guys being inducted into the Hall of Fame are old, man. Like they don't want to be up at 11 at night in Vegas. Like take a page out of the Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame. You do that shit in the morning.
Yeah.
You do that shit early, and then you let the young kids party into the night. That's how it works here in Canton, and we kind of have it pretty down to a science here. You know, where we do a parade, we do there's a parade, there's the game, there's the induction ceremony. The night before the induction, there's the jacket dinner. You know, like it's so much better paced in the Canton Football Hall of Fame compared to what we're seeing with the WWE. And also, like, the self-congratulatory induction of Triple H is just weird to me. Like, the whole thing, like, Triple H being inducted in the Hall of Fame, him barely mentioning Rock during his 3-hour speech or whatever that was. And then, like, I did like that he thanked Mick Foley specifically. Like, he's like, without Foley, I don't become the game. Because, like, Foley took him to a different level. Because, like, before that, people weren't sure if he was hardcore enough. But, like, when you go up against Cactus Jack multiple times in that storyline with him and Triple H.
Yeah, the elements were there to make it actually a thing.
He's like, did you watch any of that speech? It's really long.
No, I did not watch the speech when I saw it was like him an hour and a half or whatever. I'm like, why is any speech going this long? I'm like, imagine being at the Oscars and then someone just doesn't get off the stage.
That's what
Adrian Brody.
Can you imagine? Like a 90-minute acceptance speech, Donovan.
Imagine being in that crowd and like you're thinking you're about to.
And if you work at NXT, Denny, your call time's 5 a.m. So like, yeah, you had to be up and ready to wrestle at 5 a.m. Like Shawn Michaels, I think he slept 2 hours or something because they were getting out of that at like 3 a.m. And
that's like, crazy for a Hall of Fame event.
It's like also like putting that. Once again, they did it right after SmackDown. So it's like you already had to go through a freaking SmackDown production, and now you're going to put all these people who were just at SmackDown in suits falling asleep in front of you. It's just horrible optics.
Yeah, it did not help them out this weekend because now those memes exist of folks
like
going to sleep so they can. Yeah, so they could also use that for the episodes of the show in the future.
But like I said, there are some talented people that are shining through all the bullshit. Like Io Sky being the first Japanese woman to win at WrestleMania is huge. Her just getting more respect is huge to me because she's like technically like one of the best wrestlers they have. Just what she
I brought up that earlier with Donovan and such. You know how like they had the storyline and Bianca and Rhea going at it with each other and ignoring the actual champion in the triple threat match, and then she's saying, "Okay, well, you don't want to respect me, cool. I'll just win then."
Yeah,
and coming through that way, like, it's a good way to go about it. Like, you know, more of that for like the talent involved, putting in the situation, you know. But like you said, the fact that that's even a thing where like it's, you know, you've got like even Shinsuke had mentioned that too. It's like it's been 20 plus years. You've got. So a Japanese wrestler headlining anything at WrestleMania, like that's not a good look.
And they did ask us so dirty so many times at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like, it's like I will always support these Japanese wrestlers because they have a language barrier. It's a huge problem for them when they get over there originally because they don't speak English as well as other wrestlers. And so much of being a superstar is your promo abilities. I think Io's actually starting to find like her voice, like her.
Yeah, it's a big thing with like, you know, giving some of that there, but it's also one of those things that I feel like you know, there's some pushback there when it comes to like how Triple H has been approaching that. You know, like, you know, bringing up how like it's not about your performance or like the wrestling side of things. It's more so about how you can sell and
Yeah.
how you can, get involved with being the best character and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, if you're a Japanese wrestler, and you've got, you gotta please things for the English audience. Like it's hard to get that across outside of the ring. When
Yeah.
people are getting that kind of screen time, you're basically just coming in as either the villain character or something else as like the evil foreign character, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's it's rough. Like and especially if you're trying to be a baby face or something that that kids can cheer for and stuff like that, and they're not giving you the mic time over like someone else in the ring you're going up against who can eat up plenty of time.
I think she's really doing a good job with the time that they're giving her.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then her and Stephanie Vicaire fighting at Raw. That I was like, yep, these are your two superstars. Like these are your two.
Yeah, it makes the sense.
Like I'm like,
To
this
put
is what
them together
people
in that
want.
way.
But once again, they're using a Latina as like a chess piece, man. It's like, oh, we're gonna use them on Netflix because that's the one that airs in all the Latin American, all the
She was
Spanish-
also the former Triple A talent that they poached, so it makes sense after buying the entire company.
Yeah, exactly.
Feels great when you like you take talent from like one company and then you're like, guess what, guys? Don't worry, you'll see them soon because we own them now. Like,
I really am
just-
curious how the people who sold out to WWE feel about them saying the Gulf of America on the broadcast where they announced the same broadcast where they announced the acquisition. They're using the phrase Gulf of America. It's
and
just
then
like,
you got the Heyman comments and stuff too. Like,
and then
it's
you have Heyman
nasty.
going after Fluffy, and Heyman also at McAfee going after a member of the crowd saying he's going to get deported. Like, yeah, it's a I don't know.
Maximum cringe.
It really is. This week, like, it's just so wild. Like, I really just got back into wrestling about like a year and a half ago when Vince was like out of the company. But now I'm like, man, his stink is still all over the place.
Well, I'm gonna say that it's not perfect, but I've had plenty of fun watching AEW, buddy.
I know.
Like, there's plenty. Like I can get a quality Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay match, and I'm feeling
Honestly,
good.
I like watching NXT wrestlers. Like I like seeing them.
Oh, NXT is definitely on point. Sean's been doing this thing over there. There's definitely there's definitely a nice balance.
With like TNA,
But they also don't have the same like spotlight on them.
No.
That's it's not hitting the same as far as like having those kind of interference, in there, getting involved in what's happening when this match is going to. That's not, you can tell it's different down there in comparison. And they're also not like, they got like the same, facility and everything that they're doing things out of. So it makes it a lot easier to keep that kind of cohesion in place.
Yep. I think what they did at NXT is one of the most impressive parts of this whole era. I call it the Degeneration era because it's basically Degeneration X running the show. But it's The Rock needs to go away for like a long time.
He's giving those Hogan vibes right now. It's not a good look.
Yeah, man, and it's like it's just not that surprising. Like after all the Vince shit, to have Linda McMahon sitting there at the Hall of Fame induction of Triple H and for Triple H to thank Vince and like all this stuff that happened there. And then Roman Reigns
just
comments.
reminded me that even happened. All of that. I still love Vince McMahon, and
yeah, dude.
that
That's
was-
why I watched it. I watched it because I was like, okay, I got to hear what he says about Vince. And I was like, oh, okay, it's complicated. He's your child. He's your daughter's grandfather. He's your wife's father, and he's the only reason you're even in this position. So like, I get how complicated that is, but. Yeah, if Vince McMahon can't sit there and say you're welcome to you, maybe you shouldn't bring his name up. If he's not, if the optics of Vince being in the crowd would be too much, why saying his name okay? You know what I mean?
That was part of that moment forever. That's nasty. But hey, I feel like there's definitely like there's space for them to make some positive changes, and it feels like there's elements of that you see come through properly. Is a lot of things that I feel like are going to get worse over the next couple of months.
I think you're gonna see people leaving for AEW again because I think Karrion Kross is like sick of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, Bailey's got that year and a half on a contract, and her best friend is in the company and also the current champion.
Yep.
So there's teasing on that too potentially, but obviously they can't get tampering involved.
Yeah.
But
But like I could see superstars leaving. I don't know, did you mention Joe Hendry?
Yeah. We
Yeah, he
got a
did.
little Joe Hendry showing in there, and good stuff there.
That's
And
what I mean,
you
though. Like little moments, like Joe Hendry, Io Sky, the whole triple threat match with the women. Like the women's tag match was, but like, just forget the women's tag match. The men's tag match was decent. I liked seeing the New Day win. I also just shout out to Mega Ran, like he's the artist on their new entrance music. So,
Okay, yeah. Well, that's cool.
Rand was super excited because he was touring. He was in Atlanta playing a show when the New Day entered the arena. But yeah, like everyone watching WrestleMania heard Mega Ran rapping.
That's dope.
That's really cool. It's always fun to see that, and we're huge
Yeah,
Mega
see,
Ran fans.
more of that kind of side of things. Like I would have liked to see like some of that production instead of seeing trailers for the writers' room and such. Like I don't know what they're doing there, but like give me like some time with Mega Ran making that intro.
That might be the worst documentary idea since Off-Season Hard Knocks, and we all know how Off-Season Hard Knocks went.
Yeah,
Off-Season Hard Knocks went terribly, so bad that no one will do it ever again. So it's like
because Donovan, if you didn't like wrestling, or if you did, the best thing to do is to do a documentary series where you show the writers' room for creating said storylines for that wrestling.
It's like how the sausage is made, and I don't know if people.
The thing that would have never happened ever with any kind of that would never have happened.
No way.
And now we're in the internet age we're in now. Like, you think this is the best idea to do is to let people into that room?
No.
And that is oof.
It's like South Park did it with 6 Days to Air, and it's actually a really good documentary that breaks down like how that worked. But no one needs to know how the WWE sausage is made, especially after this last weekend. We do not need to hear more candid takes from these people. Holy shit! Like
I think it's gonna be a great episode of SNL. They're gonna make something funny out of it down the line, sure. Especially if The Rock shows up, like, hey guys, I think this is a great idea.
Especially if they're so metric driven and they're so analytical about things, the way they're going to talk about decisions, it's going to sound really gross to people. Like the decision for EO to win or lose, or like when to push someone versus when they're not. I
personally wanna pop in the writers' room and be like, we should push like an actors triple threat match where you get Batista, John Cena, and The Rock in the ring together, and Batista just cutting promo saying, "I'm clearly the best actor out of all three, out of all three of us."
Like,
so
he's still gone. There's no way he's gonna wrestle again.
I wouldn't blame him. I mean, like he's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he's making millions, and he's like working in like cool roles and stuff. And like, yeah, I don't think his politics really align with the WWE either. Like,
yeah,
he's not a piece of shit. So like,
yeah.
I like Dave Bautista. I don't want him involved in that. Put Randy in instead.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Randy's there. Randy's a killing machine. Like watching it, dude. The meme of Joe Hendry doing the turnaround and him getting the RKO is like, that's really one of my favorite anime gifs out there now.
It's strong.
Like, so like I guess that's all I'll say is like just wrapping it up. But like WrestleMania. I agree with what David said. He gave it like a C+ rating. Like, I agree. I think last year was an A. This is definitely like a C to me. But if the trend continues of these outwardly racist and terrible political statements being made on their shows, like, I'll probably just stop watching again. Because like I got interested because of Cody's story and Roman and The Rock being there last year. And now I'm just like, I don't know where the hell Roman Reigns' story goes from here.
You could,
Cody's
well,
gonna-
you could tell that with like just how they zoomed in on his face, and he looked like just like it was the biggest like sad boy, or they could have played the Naruto flute over that, and it would have been like it was rough. I'm just like Roman looks like his time is over right now. The way that was looking, like
makes me not want to see Peacemaker
Season 2.
season 2.
oh man,
Yeah, it's John
Yeah.
Cena's DC show. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. John Cena killing wrestling, A-okay by me. Go for it, dude. Like honestly, like I liked when he called out Pat McAfee on his show for being high all the time, and like there's some real shit happening in sports media this week, guys. Real
oh
shit.
yeah, no,
There sure is.
like Paul Heyman taking the shots to you,
Paul
like,
Heyman calling out McAfee about telling him that he hates Stephen A. Smith and wants the same contract. And then John Cena, both of them were talking about how Pat's high all the time. But no one should be surprised by that. Like,
well, yeah, no. I mean, he was that. That was one thing we didn't mention about things was the commentary during WrestleMania. Some of the things being said by Pat made absolutely no sense, with or without context.
on
Where it was just like,
Raw, he told Raquel Rodriguez to speak English to him. I don't understand you speak English. On a high mic. Like, maybe an hour before Gunther choked him out. But yeah, Pat's really bad at commentary. Like, he's not good at it. And he's not involved enough in the scene to know these wrestlers, their moves, or anything. So he's a terrible play-by-play commentator. But he's also bad at color because he's just stupid and spouts out verbal diarrhea. Wade Barrett saved that entire broadcast, Denny. Like, without him, Michael Cole would have had to do a lot of the heavy lifting like he does on Raw every week.
yeah, there's definitely a difference there in
But
caliber.
I hope that this Gunther thing technically writes off Pat for a while. Like, he can't do commentary because
He's choked out, but he's on the conveniently before the NFL draft. But you know,
He's on
yes.
the back feature the next day. But yeah, he got choked out. When I was a kid, I thought they were fighting for real. Me too, Lucci.
I mean, yeah, at this point,
They are.
and shout out to the little boys and girls out there that are actually getting that energy still. You know, like I've seen like Bianca and Naomi and some of the others who have like they've had some of the press they've been doing, but they've also had like they've invited some of like these little black girls to come to the show and stuff like that. Bianca had some of them doing double dutch in her intro, entrance and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was her stepdaughter who was who was doing the double dutch when she walked in. Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like these talented people are taking advantage of their spotlight in good ways. And I think like even Cody does that. Like fuck, John Cena, man. I think he has a world record for the most Make-A-Wish
Fulfillments.
events. Yeah, fulfillments. So like there are good people in that space, but it's like
trying to fight through the mess is a lot,
Yeah.
We're trying to fight the corporate end is
it's not unlike what's going on at Tesla right now, man. Like there's some good people who work at Tesla, but the management at the top is really really corrupt, and you see that with TKO as well. And like Ari Emanuel and Dana White, like
I do want to bring up that competition is good. There's a lot of mouths to feed and also a lot of talent out there. So like I see things of AEW and stuff like that, and obviously WWE does their territorial stuff when it comes to trying to knock some of that out. They just announced They announced a special event that's going to be happening the same Saturday as AEW's pay-per-view. Which they've been doing every single time now, almost, with a lot of different stuff happening. But it's like, like killing out the competition is not necessarily good for anyone. There's a lot less people getting paid the way that they should be, and willing to take way less to get any kind of screen time. And so, hoping that there's plenty of success for multiple companies, so that there's enough for wrestling to kind of succeed in that aspect, where people can all get their shine. So
Yeah, it's just gonna be interesting to see how they handled AAA and how they handle this influx of luchadors. Because right now, I think El Grande Americano. How the hell did the company that has El Grande Americano acquire the largest luchador promotion? Like that's
and they also they've been pushing Penta and just
yeah,
brought in Ray and everything else.
Ray
Like,
Phoenix. And I like look, I love Penta. Penta's awesome. Like he was great before he got to WWE. Like, his persona was already awesome before.
yeah,
So now
established and everything else there.
but like a ninja demon luchador, like that's my vibe right there. But yeah, he's fun. Like, yeah, I just I don't know. They need to kill off El Grande Americano. Is all I'm getting. At. Shit like that is.
We'll put him in I know what you did last summer and just add to the kill list. It's fine with me.
Is it me or is the volume low? I don't know. It might be you.
Here.
I mean, we've had quite the wrestling run anyway, so
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, we could probably wrap up the show. I got to go do a podcast here in 10 minutes.
Oh shit!
I just saw you guys chatting, so I thought I'd run in with a steel chair.
Yeah.
And I also, Donovan, I watched Draft Day last night. Just to let you
I saw your picture. I love that that's your tradition. I saw Adam Schefter tweeted about it. He tweeted his clip where they reference his name, which
You laughed at me. You laughed at me when I said I think that's the role that got Chadwick Boseman the Black Panther role. It was 4 years before, Donovan.
If I had to guess, it was probably maybe 42, which was I think it was the year before.
42 was definitely a banger. Yes.
I think that the Academy Award winning 42.
I don't know, man. His role as Vontae Mack was
it's
pretty
close.
Impressive.
They're really
Vontae, Jackie Robinson.
They're two sports legends. They're right on par with each other.
That's what I'm saying. A Cleveland Brown legend. Who doesn't love a good story about Cleveland Browns teams?
Oh God, yeah.
Well, we'll see how you feel about that after this draft.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't care about the Browns anymore. They're gonna screw it up. Yeah, they will find a way to screw this up. My guess, they draft Abdul Carter and he ends up having a horrible, just unlucky career in Cleveland. That would be the Cleveland thing to do here. If I was running the Browns, I would draft Travis Hunter.
I hope they don't. Jesus Christ, I hope they don't. They probably. I think they will, but I hope they don't. As a Ravens fan, I don't want.
I'm just saying, from a talent evaluation standpoint.
Oh yeah.
Travis Hunter's a freak of nature. Like you draft that guy.
Oh yeah. He's gonna get picked up for sure.
And I think Genty as a running back should go in the top 10. He's going to have a similar impact that Jahmyr Gibbs had for the Lions. Those are the two things I'm watching. But yeah, there's this really funny Twitter thread where they break down Kevin Costner's drive into the Browns facility in draft day, and they map out what he did and how long it would take and how stupid it was. People don't know how to have too much time on their hands doing shit like that. But yeah, it's become a cult kind of a film. My brother and I, we watch it once a year. So yeah, last night, or I watch it more than once a year, but right around draft day, I will watch draft day. Yeah. And I have to maintain that it's one of my favorite roles Chadwick Boseman ever played. I just think it's funny that you had, what the fuck's his name? Who's the voice of Mario? That guy?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. His first sports movie role was Moneyball.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
he ends up being Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, draft day might have been 42 was nice and all, but Vontae Mack's performance in draft day, I really think.
Yeah, the elaborate, the webs are coming here. Clearly, maybe you got to do a sports movie as part of your sacrificial ritual before you get the Marvel role.
Seriously, I think you
pipeline. Yeah,
and you need some canceled people like Puff Daddy is in Draft Day, which is just really awkward now, and Bobby Kotick is in Moneyball, which is even more awkward.
They're both pretty rough.
Those are I'm getting to the point where I just fast forward past the Puff Daddy scenes because he's just
Yeah, I would do the same.
This is where AI could help, Donovan.
Someone AI draft. What's the
we need,
demand
like,
for that? For someone to AI
AI
draft day so that
No,
P.
but
Diddy
like,
could take it out.
no. I just want an AI agent that I can input a video into and be like, hey, remove Bobby Kotick and replace him with, like, I don't know. Who would you want?
Any actor.
Replace him with any male actor.
Yeah.
And it's just like Christopher Walken as the owner of the
That'd be
Oakland
good.
A's. That would be awesome. I'd take that. Like,
Yeah.
that's what AI should do, is remove Puff Daddy from draft day. Like, just give me an AI agent that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, instead we're going to have generative AI images of garbage pail kids.
Yeah.
He said Ewan McGregor could do it. That'd be perfect.
That'd be a good
Axeman
fit.
liked draft day, by the way.
I
Hey,
did
there you go.
not expect the
Look, it has
the full draft day shift pitch happening here on the show, but it clearly
It's got a cult following. That much is true. I would never deny that. It has its contingency of fans.
Which is insane, because it's
that's-
like so corny. Anyway, I'm going to get
Cool.
out of here because I have to go to the podcast now. But
All right.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for streaming, Donovan.
Yep. Have a good recording.
Always fun talking wrestling, Danny. I love
Yes,
when
yeah,
we get wrestling.
times.
When we can infect Pop Goes the Culture with sports is always a win for me.
Yeah, we'll have to do it
And-
again around like maybe SummerSlam or something. Yeah. What's up, Slinky Jim?
Yeah,
Yeah. You guys come back for something like that.
Big dubs.
like an AEW thing instead.
Oh yeah.
You know, I go to the pay-per-view every year, so there'll definitely be some action in there. I'm booked for Dynamite next month, so maybe I'll
Oh shit.
come in and talk a little bit about some of that too. They have a special 4-hour show going down.
Nice. All right,
Nice.
well, I'll see you guys.
All right. Take care. Peace out. Amazing. And I believe with that is going to bring our special, that's a very special episode of Pop Goes the Culture. One, because Greg wasn't here, so it was kind of like Dad's Not Home vibes. So we got to talk about wrestling, sports, honestly, I should have thrown like a Marvel trailer on there or something since he was on here. We could talk like Fantastic Four or something. But we have to get into a lot of fun topics today. Thank you again,
Yes.
Denny, for tagging in. I
Had a
appreciate
good
you.
time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and shout outs to movie theaters,
Yeah, shout out to the movie theaters.
I'm gonna get some time in with Sinners. Definitely gonna happen this weekend.
Yeah. Yes, Axeman. Forgot I was gonna talk about Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil's good. I liked it. I was not the biggest Daredevil Netflix fan. I preferred Jessica Jones, believe it or not. But I thought that the new season was good. Had some ups and downs, but overall good. For a show that got completely rebooted halfway through development, you can tell, but it works out fine enough. And I'm curious to see if they do
I
it
was
the
a
next.
massive Daredevil fan, so
Yeah.
if you talk about it next week, I can bring it up then.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it this weekend as well and catch up on everything through with the original cast and stuff. But I used to watch cast interviews and everything in between. That was like the big kind of start for Netflix. So as far as like making those kind of projects a thing,
Yeah.
obviously they went in and they got some successful ones like like you mentioned Jessica Jones and such. But
Yeah.
I was on that heavy back then.
Amazing. Well, yeah, maybe we'll have you jump back in to review that with us next week. But in the meantime, folks, that has been episode 161 of Shacknews Presents Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan. That's Denny. Thank you to Axeman, Slinky Jim, Lucci Dobra, TJ, Asif, everybody who hang out during the stream. We appreciate you a ton, and we are going to see you guys next time. Goodbye.